Once you decide what you want to do with your anger and sadness, that's when you change your entire script. That's when you change your entire moment. That's when you're in the driver's seat, not your emotions. Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to my channel, Pleasant Living Purpose. My name is Tristan Goodwin, and this channel is about how our emotions impact everything in our life. Think about health, money, relationships, yeah, all of that. And how we can use mindfulness practices to better those aspects. So today's video is about how sadness and anger can be used as tools for us to be more aware, for us to be more conscious about ourselves. This was a suggestion given to me by a good friend of mine, so if you're watching this, friend, thank you. Let's get into it. Though I do recommend that you stick through the entire video because the last point that I have to give, there's only 3, definitely talks about how we can use these 2 emotions for our betterment. So, when we think of anger and sadness, well, those are very 2 strong emotions. They are very powerful. A lot of people can relate to these emotions, and they can come out of nowhere. So, when we think of anger, we think of like a really impulsive feeling to act. It is like that fight mode when we think of fight and flight. And then sadness is more of a sort of mourning, a sort of disappointment. And like these 2 emotions can shift into deeper intensity. However, the way that we as human beings perceive and feel emotions are different. For some people who are angry, they might just keep their anger inside. Right here. I used to do that a lot of times. And then for sadness, it would be very similar where you just keep it inside. And then there's other people who are very expressive with their emotions, who will showcase them in huge intensity. It is okay to feel these emotions. That's it. When we allow ourselves to feel and express these emotions, they are just the truth of the matter at the moment. We are angry, we are sad. There is nothing to romanticize, there's nothing wrong being angry or sad because you're already there. So you might as well just express it in the best way possible. Now, the reason why I say this is because you can express your anger in a calm sense, in a sensible way. Now, I'm not suggesting that you just go ape crazy and destroy like cities and states and countries, but it is to acknowledge where you are at the moment that makes the changes. Because if you're angry and someone tells you stop being angry, wouldn't that make you angrier? Wouldn't that make you feel frustrated because you're not being understood? So, point number 1 is just acknowledge where you are at the moment. Because when you acknowledge where you are in the moment, you can now express those emotions in a way that it wouldn't set you back. It wouldn't feel like you're holding it in, which would be completely problematic in that own sense. If you're holding in your emotions and you don't have an outlet to express it, that's a lot of stress that your body is carrying inside. And you will become a volcano in some way or form, no matter if you're sad or angry. So, when you can acknowledge where you are, the second point is allowing these emotions to show up. Allowing these emotions to show up for you because they're telling us something. Our anger and sadness always tell us something about ourselves. So they are most likely telling us things that we do not want to experience they could be showing us patterns of anger and sadness, where like we just go into this habit of like something frustrating us and we become instantly angry. Well, while anger and sadness are emotions and they are valid feelings, you obviously don't want to feel them on a constant basis. That is unhealthy. If you're constantly getting angry or sad over something, whether that thing could be considered small, like someone making an annoying sound like in a public area, or it could be like extremely large, like a huge argument or conflict within family, like significant other type things. Well, you have to observe these emotions. So once you can acknowledge them and you allow yourself to express them, this kind of gives you the leeway to observe them. So, I mean, it's hard. There is no doubt about it. When you're like starting out trying to put awareness on a very strong or intense feeling or emotion such as anger, sadness, you will not be in the place where you can easily like step back and like be okay with it. This does take practice. This does take consistency. But the more that you be okay feeling those emotions, the easier it is to do it. The easier it is to let it just show up. So I have throughout my years like experienced anger in a way that I could not express it. I couldn't find an outlet. I couldn't find a way to express my anger towards like the people that have made me angry in the past. And I had to bottle all that up. So this is from like childhood to like adolescent. When I'm like a teenager, I find out that I'm good at poetry. So poetry was that outlet that helped me like surface my emotions, help me express myself, and help like release a lot of that anger and anguish. Because when you hold on to it, well, you just feel heavy. You just feel burdened. You just feel like you can't do anything. And this is what we're trying to avoid. Fighting them is not a good thing, but you also want to be conscientious enough not to allow yourself to get angry or sad, because like there's certain times where little tidbits can just set us off in one way. And this is mainly about anger. When we're talking about sadness, well, sadness is a completely different emotion, because we experience something that leads to a great disappointment, that leads to mourning, and that can be all sorts of things. Now, sadness is something that, while it doesn't lead to anger, sometimes it can, you can have a very delicate approach of experiencing sadness. And I think sadness is one of those emotions that you do have to just let out, that you just have to continue to acknowledge and accept and let out, just so that you get like a clean slate. How they can be conscious tools. And I think I spoke about them a bit. So anger and sadness can be used as a spiritual practice in a way, or a mindfulness practice. Whatever floats your boat, they can be used in a way that helps us connect more with ourselves. So I already brought up that these emotions often showcase the things that we don't want to experience. If we're angry about a particular subject, or we're angry about our situation, well, clearly that context, that circumstance, isn't what we want to experience in our life. Same thing with sadness. So when you let your emotions kind of direct you and tell you like the truth of the matter, that it's like, yeah, I'm angry because I don't like how this person treated me. I don't like this situation at all. I'm angry because I feel like I can't express myself. I'm sad because these detrimental things happen. Yeah, this is what life leads us to experience. But after a certain point, when we get more closer to who we are, when we become more aware, when we become more conscious of what we're feeling, we don't experience as much sadness and anger. And when we do, they don't become this very pivotal scene. And that's not to say that there won't be experiences of anger and sadness ever again. Sometimes life might challenge you and show up with a new circumstance that we did not expect. But when we can look at anger, sadness, any emotion that seems negative, and redefine them in a way that makes it easier to experience, that makes it easier to understand, that makes our life easier to experience, then they become a completely different experience. So, to recap, understand that anger and sadness are not bad emotions. They are actually really good emotions. When you experience them at the moment, allow them to show up in whatever form that you have to, and use them as tools of observation, especially if you know that you're someone who can get angry very fast or have like little tidbits. If this is something that you want to change, you want to observe and not allow it to take over. If you can feel it show up, and then just watch it and still be in control of it. Because none of your emotions are bad things. Your emotions are necessary and vital for your life. So if we treat them as such, that's when everything completely changes. So I hope that you liked this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, please like, comment, or subscribe. Tell me, what are the ways that you deal with your emotions, your anger, your sadness? And you will see me next Friday at 1:30. Thank you all for watching, and see you later. Also, before I go, I also do have a Facebook group, free Facebook group called Pleasant Living Community, where I'm doing completely exclusive content there. So I have a mindset series, and I'm currently doing a love series that isn't just about romantic love. If you join me there, you get to talk with me in live, you can interact with the group. This is a community that I want to build so that we all work together to live our best lives. So with that being said, I can say take care, have a great weekend, y'all, and see you next Friday.